we're gonna have a little chat and we're gonna walk on this gorgeous trail. Let's say you want to tell your story, like a true, deep, authentic story on video and grow an online audience. Or maybe you want to start a coaching business or a creative business of some kind. Or maybe you want to move to another country. Let's just say there's this thing in you you're really called to do and it won't let you go. Even though you keep talking yourself out of it or trying to postpone it or say, I'm going to do this thing later. It just tugs at you. Before I get into why the resistance is there and how to overcome it, look how pretty this is. First, want to say that the thing that you are called to do is the thing that you must do. And I don't say must like you have to, it is your duty to do it. I see it more as devotion, like God's spirit, source, loving intelligence, whatever you want to call this larger force that beats our hearts and animates our whole world and heals a knee scrape and designed your exact being and does everything that it does, grows your hair. It also planted something very real in you. Just like an orchid is designed to be an orchid or an oak tree is designed to be an oak tree, you're designed to be something very specific and you are an essential component of the fabric of life. So I brought something here today. I've had it in my desk since 2008. That's a long time. This is sand from India. I knew that I wanted to get certified as a yoga teacher back in 2008. It was something I just was called to do. It was something I was yearning to do. And I also knew I needed the education, like a really solid education. And at that time, the place to do that was India or Bali. In the months I had, it was India. It was a 2-month program. I went for 3 months. The weeks leading up to India, I was terrified. I was dreaming these horrible nightmares about tidal waves consuming me and the whole world, or being really far away and some natural disaster happening and taking my whole family down. Horrible dreams. And I'd wake up and think, these are premonitions, I shouldn't go to India. Every excuse in the book was coming up, telling me don't go, don't do this thing, like just do it later, cancel your trip, it's dangerous, don't do it. And I remember I was so distraught and in so much fear that I looked like I was dying. And I was a beautiful girl at that point, a young girl in my 20s. I remember my partner, who was extremely loving, said, "You look like you're dying." He said, "I'm worried about you. You just don't have life in your eyes. You look like something's wrong." And something was very wrong. I was facing extreme doubt and fear and resistance to the thing that I was deeply called to do. And I was in battle inside of myself. Long story short, I ended up going to India 3 months on my own, and arriving in India, living in India, it was extremely challenging. It was one of the hardest things I've ever done. But it wasn't India that was the hard part. It was when I got back and I had reverse culture shock. And it was just like, in India, everything's out, like everything. 90-year-old women are working endlessly on roads, and people are just begging and fighting, and poverty is everywhere. Nothing is hidden there. Whereas here in the States, everything's hidden that isn't acceptable, right? Typically. Or things are very divided, like poor people live there and rich people live there, and it's very divided. And so when I got home from India, it was like, wow, oh my God, reverse culture shock. It just all looked so fake to me. Everything so polished, and all the image and all the posing and all the, especially living in LA. I remember taking this soil and keeping this close in my sacred space at the time, because it was a reminder of the thing that changed me forever. And the reason I was terrified before is because I was going to become somebody who I had never been, and that meant a part of me had to die. When you are moved towards growth, when you are moved towards a fuller, richer life, when you are moved towards your destiny, it's going to require a shedding of an old version of yourself that no longer serves you. It's like the caterpillar cannot take the butterfly to flight and have this incredible, vast perspective of life. The caterpillar has to surrender itself in order to give way to the butterfly. And my ego knew that. My ego knew before leaving to India that I was going to change radically, which I did. I ended up moving to the redwood forest, closing up my entire life in LA, relationship, everything, and going to heal myself for a year and a half in the redwoods. My ego did not want that. So the reason I'm sharing this with you is because the resistance is coming up in you, or the fear, all of the emotions that are coming up in you, they're coming up because deep down, you know that you are not going to be the same person when you go and do the thing. You know that you are going to be somebody new, that change is coming. So the reason why the resistance is there is because the ego hates change. But here's the problem with that. We are always evolving, growing. We are constantly changing. And that's the miracle. That's the miracle of life. Imagine if this tree stayed like teeny little sprout out of an acorn, and it never changed. Look at all the changes. Funny, there's a swing here, and it's like we play on swings. We jump, we get on swings to enjoy moving back and forth, up and down. But when it comes to life and things go up and down and change, the ego fights it at all costs because it cannot figure out what in the world it is going to do with that change, and it can't predict it, and the ego's job is to control and keep, no matter how miserable or how limited or how small or how out of alignment, our lives exactly the same. And I really want you to hear this. Because when the doubt kicks in, when the fear kicks in, when the resistance kicks in, it is not a sign to stop. It is not a red light. It is a green light from your soul saying, go. Doubt is your friend. Resistance is your friend. Fear is your friend. If you know how to take it as feedback and move forward in spite of it, while being extra caring and nurturing to yourself. Had I given up and not gone to India, for example, I wouldn't have gone to the redwood forest. I wouldn't have found my soul's work. I wouldn't have written the Diamond Process book. I wouldn't have created an entire business and life around the pain and strife and everything I learned going to India, coming back from India, moving to the redwood forest to face myself alone in the redwoods and heal myself. That was all extremely hard. There were times I didn't want to live. It was that hard. But that's what evolution and living your greatness looks like. That's what it takes. It takes the hard stuff. And I heard Reverend Michael say this many years ago. He said, we didn't come here for things to be easy. He said, we don't want things easy. We want the friction. We want the struggle, the challenge, so that we can birth into the diamond, so we can birth into the butterfly, so we can become our full potential. So I wanted to make this video with you because the simple practice, the treasure tool I have for you, is to, in your mind, clean up the idea that when doubt, resistance, fear kicks in, it's a sign to stop. What if it's a sign to go? Now, obviously, if you're crossing the street and there is a, massive truck speeding down towards you, you'd step out of the way. That's an obvious thing. That is a real threat. I'm talking about ego threat. I'm talking about, you know what? I'm going to go to India. My shabib is going to be everything I've hidden under a perfect image is going to come up to the surface, and my ego is going to feel threatened because I may not be lovable from those who loved me as a perfect person, seemingly perfect, or a people pleaser, or whatever the things were. Those ego threats are liberating to the soul. They rescue the soul. So it's really important to discern the difference between an ego threat and a real threat, a real life threat. They are very different things, but they trigger the exact neurological response in the brain. So what is it that you are here to do? What is it that you are so deeply called to do, to create, to bring into our world, to explore, to learn? Might even just be there's something you want to learn, but you keep telling yourself, oh, can't invest in that. I have to, do this for my kids or this for this person, and you keep being pushed aside. Someone in my family, I just shared that my writing coach is having a writing retreat, and like we should go together. And she said, her whole soul, she said, I wish you could have seen me when is going to make me cry. She said, I wish you could see me. And this is a very powerful woman in the world who has a very full and busy life and does everything for everyone else. She said, as soon as you said, let's go on that writing retreat together, she said, I wish you could see my face. I've never felt so happy. That's the clue. That initial elation, the glee, the excitement. Wow, like sometimes we confuse that as nervousness, but like the butterflies in the stomach, like that thing that lifts your energy, that's a clue. I felt that way about India, 100%. Terrified, excited, couldn't believe I had this privilege and opportunity to go. And at the same time, I was terrified because my ego knew that I'd be threatened, that I couldn't control my circumstances in India, and I certainly couldn't control my emotions anymore coming back from India, and I could no longer repress and hide myself and who I really was. So, those things that you are called to do, not even saying like go do it right now, but just sit with, contemplate, explore what your soul is yearning to blossom into. If it's that video you want to make, telling your honest story and growing an audience and serving people who have struggled with the same exact thing, maybe you just make a video, you take that first step for your eyes only. If you want to start a coaching business, get certified as a coach. Do it for your own personal growth, for example, like in our coach training program. Some people do it just for their own growth, and it totally changes their confidence levels, like completely transforms their lives. Can that be enough? To just do the thing for your own benefit? If you want to move to another country, but everything in your mind is telling you can't, especially now, whatever the case may be, explore, draw out the maps, look for locations, like what will it cost? Like give yourself permission to dream and get clear on what it's going to take to actually do it, what that plan is. So I'm just encouraging you to tend to your soul today, rather than shrinking in the face of ego threats. Ego threats will keep everything the same. And that's fine. If you're happy with where you are, that's phenomenal. I mean, we should all strive to actually be fulfilled where we are. That's the secret of life. And simultaneously, we're always evolving and growing. So if you are inspired to evolve and grow and to do the thing you're called to do in spite of fear, resistance, doubt, what is that next step for you? And thank you for choosing to live from your heart and your soul. I'm going to go hiking. This is just something I really wanted to share with you. There was someone in the dojo who just shared she was really gung-ho about sharing her personal story because she healed, I think, stage 4 cancer, and she was going to go and tell her story, and like it's taken her months to muster up the courage, and then as soon as she's about to hit record, all of her doubts came up. So really this video was prompted because of her comment in the dojo, and I want you to know I work with incredible people, like very powerful souls. Everyone, nearly across the board, goes through the exact, I'd say everyone, but I don't want to be so absolute about that, but it is literally the most common thing when you are living a full, rich life. So, you're right on track. There you go. I love you guys with all of my heart. Get out in nature. Like this video if you liked it, if you got something from it. And I will see you all in the next video. If you haven't already subscribed, this channel is all about helping you raise your frequency and do the work you were born to do in this world. Grow your soul-centered business. Hey, my friend, thank you so much for tuning into this video. I hope that you loved it. And I have a gift for you since you made it this far into the video. If you have a dream in your heart that you really want to create, but you've been getting stuck in a low frequency, a low vibration, or you've just been giving your energy out to everyone else and everything outside of you and not making time for what you actually want to create, I want to give you the gift of my workshop called The 3 Keys to Commanding Your Frequency. So if you loved this video and want to take it to the next level, make sure you grab that. It's in the description below. I am so honored to share this with you. It's a 3-day video series, and this is my gift from me to you for being a loyal subscriber and part of my soul family here. And I am here to celebrate you and support you in raising your frequency and bringing the gift that's in your heart out into the world with confidence. So I hope you love this gift, and I'll see you in the next video. Mwah.